2 o'clock. The Coliseum was alive with sound. Hundreds of alien cadets from 60 different species filled the balconies, buzzing, hissing, clicking, and chattering. Towering banners rippled under the artificial winds of Hellevaris 9, a planet too hostile for anything but war and performance. At its center, the arena, pure obsidian sand bordered by gravity pylons, storm glass, and a domed shield to keep the audience safe from what was about to begin. And at the heart of it all stood a girl, bare-armed, alone, unarmored. Ivy Thorn adjusted her stance. One foot slightly behind the other. Shoulders loose. Fingers twitching just once. The weight of gravity here, 1.4 Earth standard, pressed against her spine, but it was familiar now. Like an old ache she'd grown fond of. Above her, a shrill laugh echoed. Look at her. No exoplate, no synth blade. She's gonna die in seconds. Another alien cadet jeered, a Zarnak with bioluminescent skin. Is this your apex predator, Earth? A smiling corpse waiting to happen? Ivy looked up but didn't speak. Just a smile. Sharp. Not happy, measured. A monitor flickered alive. Commander Kale Vorek's face appeared, scaled and scowling, his voice deep and metallic. Final Apex trial, commencing. Combatant Ivy Thorn of Earth versus Helraxian Reaver. Standard survival rules. Begin at the bell. He paused. Note, this match is to the death. The words hung in the air like frost. 201. Ivy smiled. She didn't smile because she was excited or because she thought she'd win. She smiled because she remembered. It was dusk on the northern rim of the Dead Belt. Ivy was 9, barefoot, and wrapped in a plastic coat lined with scavenged foil. Her father stood beside her, face lit by the glow of burning trees and boiling sky. See that, he said, pointing at the silhouette of a spineback beast slithering across the ridgeline. That thing won't hesitate. I know, Ivy whispered. If it comes for you, and you can't run, don't scream. Don't beg. What should I do? He looked down at her and smiled faintly. You smile. You show it that you're not prey. 202. The gate thundered open. The Helraxian Reaver charged in, 6 limbs hammering the ground, its plated skull low, glowing green eyes locked on her chest. It stood over 9 feet tall, built in a lab to hunt in gravity wells and tear apart armored units. A predator designed by a species that thought Earthlings were an anomaly. A myth. But myths were born somewhere. Ivy didn't move. She watched its gait, timing, breathing patterns. Left foreleg slightly delayed. Too much pressure in the left haunch, old injury maybe. That was good. She could work with that. A countdown started on the holoscreen above. 5. 4. 3. The cadets began to chant, meet. 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 2. 1. The buzzer sounded. The Reaver roared. Ivy moved. She dropped into a roll under its first swing, feeling the shockwave punch through her ribs as the claw passed inches above her head. Obsidian sand sprayed. The Reaver turned fast, faster than expected, but not smartly. She dove toward the wall, flipped off a low ridge of stone, and landed behind it. The Reaver lunged, and met empty air. She wasn't running. She was leading. Every step was mapped in her mind. Not choreography, instinct wrapped in muscle memory. Ivy had been dodging monsters since she could walk. The jungle didn't pause. Neither did she. She slid under another swing, scraping her elbow against rock. Blood welled. Not much. Enough. The Reaver caught her scent. Bellowed. Then. It hesitated. Ivy turned slowly to face it. Her arm dripped blood. She raised it, mocked offering. Come and get it. It snarled and pounced. She dove forward. Not away, into the beast's shadow. The crowd gasped. Alien cadets leaned forward. Some of them had seen this simulation before. They knew the Reaver's attack paths, its bite radius, the fatal kill zones. Ivy should have been reduced to pulp. Instead, she disappeared beneath the Reaver's belly. 2 seconds passed. Then came the shriek. The Reaver reared up, back arching violently. Ivy was behind it now, slick with blood, its own. In her hand was a jagged bone blade, crudely carved and impossibly sharp. She'd hidden it inside her body, lodged beneath her rib, wrapped in scar tissue in defiance. Her voice cut through the stunned silence. Second hearts in the abdomen. Not the chest. She drove the blade upward. The Reaver convulsed once, twice, then slumped. 204. It stopped moving. For a moment, no one spoke. Commander Kale's face reappeared, tighter now. His eyes twitched. This wasn't in the projections, he muttered. Back in the stands, cadets stared. Some whispered. Some filmed. Some simply watched, no longer jeering. Ivy stepped over the Reaver's corpse. She was limping now, something had torn near her calf, but she stood straight. She looked toward Kale's balcony. And smiled again. Not mocking. Not cruel. Warning. The Academy was no longer laughing. Alien commanders whispered in their tongues. Earth bred that? She bled it out and baited it. They said humans were feral. They didn't say strategic. In the medical wing, an assistant leaned over to Ivy as she stitched her own leg. Why, didn't you run? Ivy looked at her calmly. I was never running. I was remembering. The assistant blinked. Remembering what? Ivy stared out the window where storm clouds boiled across the surface of Hellevaris 9. That if you smile before a monster moves, it stops wondering whether you're afraid. 207. The body of the Reaver was still warm, blood seeping into the obsidian sand, steaming under the heat lamps of the dome. Ivy stood beside it, her arms streaked red, the bone dagger still slick in her hand. Above, the crowd remained silent. And then came the slow, metallic clap. Kale Vorak stepped onto his command platform, hands behind his back. His scaled face bore the same neutral expression, but his eyes narrowed. Not rage. Not yet. Calculation. He activated his personal comlink. Override training protocol. Inject second target. Ignore quota limits. The technician beside him hesitated. Commander, that's a direct violation of. I said inject it. A single keystroke later, a second gate slammed open. This time, the creature that emerged was larger. Modified. Bulkier plating. Double the rage. Another Reaver, but this one had been waiting. No warm-up. No hesitation. The crowd stirred again. This is illegal, murmured a cadet in the balcony. A Zarnak officer frowned. I thought she passed the trial already. Kale's voice boomed across the arena. Round 2. For complete confirmation of Apex status. Ivy didn't flinch. She could feel the shift. The weight of attention. The lies being spun in real time. He's trying to bury me. Not test me. The new Reaver stalked forward, slower than the last, but not because it was hesitant. It was watching her. Learning. These models weren't just brutes, they had synthetic memory overlays. Which meant it had seen her fight. Ivy gripped the dagger tighter. No time to overthink. She shifted her stance, lower, tighter. Her breathing slowed. The Reaver lunged. This one didn't roar. No theatrics. It moved like a weapon already drawn. Ivy barely dodged, rolling under its strike, her shoulders slamming into stone. She felt something crack. Couldn't stop to check what. She spun, aiming for the underbelly again. No good. This Reaver didn't lift. It crouched with her. Anticipated. Slammed its tail across her back. She flew 6 meters and crashed against the arena wall. The crowd gasped. Blood from her mouth. A tooth, maybe 2. She smiled anyway. Crooked now. Different game, she muttered. From the observation deck, Kale leaned forward, voice low. She dies here. Quietly. No martyr, no legend. Just failure. His aide looked pale. What if she doesn't? Kale's eyes burned. She will. Ivy pressed her palm to the wound on her side. Something was tearing inside. Internal bleeding. Minutes at best. No more games. No more taunts. She drew something from her boot, a shard of earth obsidian, shaped like a crescent. A keepsake. Or maybe just a backup blade. The Reaver charged again. Ivy waited. Counted. 1, 2, now. She ran toward it. The entire crowd jolted in shock. Ivy ducked under the swipe, turned, kicked the Reaver's rear knee, hard. Bone cracked. The beast stumbled, just enough for her to leap onto its back. She stabbed the obsidian shard deep between armor plates at its neck joint. The Reaver thrashed, howled. Threw her off. She hit the sand hard. Rolled. Didn't get up right away. Blood poured freely from her side now. Every breath was a knife. Her fingers numbed. Still, she forced herself up. The Reaver came slower this time. Hurt, yes. But angrier. She was dying. She knew it. But she wasn't going to fall first. From the balcony, someone stood. A cadet, Zari of the Creel. 2 hearts, 8 limbs, and a brilliant military tactician. She leaned forward, eyes narrowed. She's baiting it. Another whispered, that's suicide. Zari shook her head. No. She's not baiting it for herself. The Reaver lunged again. Ivy didn't move. It closed in, teeth open, claws out. And then it slipped. Slammed face first into the sand. Cadets screamed. What they hadn't seen, what Ivy had done, was carve out a shallow blood groove during her earlier falls, soaked with Reaver ichor, slick and unstable underfoot. The second Reaver collapsed hard, dazed. She was already crawling. One last push. She climbed the beast again, slower this time. Pain blinding. Lungs wheezing. But her aim didn't shake. She drove the dagger into its eye socket. Deep. Twisted. Silence. Then a low mechanical whine from the Reaver's throat. It spasmed once. And stopped. 211. Both apex predators were down. The arena was dead quiet. Even Kale's lips parted slightly. On the balcony, a Zarnak cadet dropped his datapad. It shattered against the floor. He didn't notice. One of the alien officers whispered. That wasn't combat. That was domination. Ivy slid off the beast, collapsed to her knees. Breathing. Just breathing. She wasn't trying to celebrate. She was trying not to die. Back in the control room, Kale's aide broke the silence. This was streamed, sir. System autosync to Galactic net. Cut the feed. Too late. It's already viral. Kale clenched his fist. She cheated. The aide didn't speak. Everyone had seen it. The crowd. The commanders. The soldiers. No cheating. No tricks. Just survival so precise it felt like cheating. Because that's what humanity was, wasn't it? An insult to what other species believed was possible. A medbot floated down toward Ivy. She pushed it away weakly. I walk out, she rasped. You're bleeding internally, it chirped. I walk. Or I'm not done. She stood. Her legs shook, but she stood. And with the arena watching, stunned, silent, she limped forward. Step by step. Blood leaving a trail behind her. A red path across black sand. As she reached the gate, a voice called from above. Zari of the Creel. You plan that second one too? Ivy paused. Looked up. Shaky breath. But that smile, still there. No. Just adapted. And with that, she left the arena. Not a girl. Not a cadet. Something else entirely. 217. Blood trailed behind Ivy Thorn like a signature written in pain. Each step out of the arena was a defiance of biology, regulation, and expectation. Her boots dragged across steel corridors until she reached the medic bay doors, then stopped. She didn't knock. She collapsed. Alarms blared, auto-drones swarmed her body, and medtechs ran in from every angle. One reached for her chest, aiming to inject a stabilizer. Her hand closed around his wrist, even now. No coma, she croaked. Not yet. The medtech stared at her, pale, uncertain. You won't survive another 10 minutes without. Give me 8, she said. And access to a terminal. He hesitated. Then obeyed. 221. High above, in Black Sector Command Tower, Kale Vorik stormed into the war chamber. Every screen displayed a different replay: Ivy's dodge, her blade, the fall of the first Reaver. Then the second. Then the silence. Worse, comments. Galactic feeds were already flooded with reactions. She smiled before it even moved. I've never seen a Reaver hesitate. How many planets train like that? Just one. Kale hissed through his fangs. I'll bury her name. I'll strip her from the records. Zari of the Creel stood in the doorway behind him, arms crossed. You already tried that. The feed wasn't the only thing synced. Your override logs were backed up too. Kale spun toward her. You forget your place. Zari's stare didn't flinch. You forgot the law. And now everyone knows. A dozen alien commanders filed in behind her, Zarnak, Valorians, crazy tacticians, all silent. Watching Kale now like the predator he thought he was. Dangerous. Untrustworthy. Done. You rigged a death match, Zari said. You didn't expect her to survive. But she did. Kale growled low. So did Earth. That was the mistake. 223. In the medical bay, Ivy sat upright, trembling, sweat soaking her shirt. The stabilizer fought to keep her organs working. Her fingers danced over the terminal screen. She wasn't coding. She was releasing. Access logs. Arena overrides. Kale's private comms. Direct orders. Proof. In 30 seconds, every major Concord fleet channel received a package marked, "Truth bleeds through sand." And with it, Ivy's final message. I survived because I had to. He cheated because he couldn't. Earth doesn't kneel. We adapt. If you're afraid now, good. You should be. Ivy Thorn. 227. Outside the academy, news spread like fire through dry leaves. Dozens of alien species, many who'd once mocked humanity, now rewrote their assessments. Quiet panic settled into command centers. Not because of what Ivy did, but how calmly she did it. She planned the sand trap? No, she reacted in seconds. She weaponized her own blood? She did. Did Earth train her for this? No. Earth made her like this. And perhaps the most chilling one. If that's just one girl from a single human city, what are the rest like? 231. Kale made one last move. He stormed down toward Ivy's recovery room, flanked by 2 guards. His skin had turned darker, scaled in stress. Claws extended. Teeth bared. The medics stepped aside. Ivy sat up slowly. Pale. Weak. But alert. You're finished, Kale growled. Ivy didn't blink. You came down alone. That's bold. Kale lunged forward. She didn't reach for a weapon. Just raised her hand, and smiled. The door behind him opened. 5 high-ranking Concord generals entered, blasters drawn. One spoke, "Step away from the cadet." Kale froze. "You're under arrest for attempted political sabotage, endangering a minor combatant, and falsifying tactical records." Kale turned his head slightly, eye twitching. "You're all afraid of her." "No," the officer said. "We're afraid of what she represents." 301. The official ceremony was rushed, unplanned. The arena had been evacuated hours earlier, yet now it stood lit again, not for combat, but for declaration. Zari stepped forward holding a small, gleaming badge, a half-moon-shaped medallion engraved with Earth's atmospheric symbol and a reaver skull. Dominion medallion. She pinned it to Ivy's tattered uniform, just above her heart. The audience, now filled with silent dignitaries, watched. No applause. No cheers. Only understanding. Zari leaned in and whispered, "You didn't just win. You changed everything." Ivy whispered back, "Then it was worth bleeding for." Later, Ivy stood on the ship's balcony, bandaged, exhausted, alone. The galaxy was different now. She hadn't meant to be a symbol. She hadn't meant to lead a shift in power. She just wanted to survive. But Deathworlders rarely got to choose their roles. The galaxy made its own myths. Ivy had become one, whether she wanted to or not. Footsteps behind her. Zari again. "You've started something," she said. "There'll be more fear. More curiosity. More tests." "I'm not afraid of tests," Ivy said. "I know. That's the problem." They stood in silence, the stars blinking across the dark. A war was not coming. But a reckoning was. Because now, they knew. Earth wasn't a mystery anymore. It was a warning. Final. At 2:01, Ivy Thorn smiled. At 2:04, the apex predator stopped moving. At 3:01, the galaxy understood. Deathworlders don't fight to win. They fight because they already know how to survive.